Hi, my name is Jenny Lauren Dowden for Conduit News. Today we have Republican primary candidate for House District 47, Wade Dunn, joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Jenny. I appreciate you having me in and the opportunity to talk about this race.
Yeah, I know that you're so busy, especially with door knocking and getting your message out by Tuesday. So we just want a few minutes to get an update from you. Let us know how it is going. There are many voters out there who have still not cast their ballot. What would you like to tell them?
Well, I've been to many doorsteps, and the most encouragement I can get is when I'm at the doorsteps. In the beginning, nobody knew who their representative was. Nobody knew about the race. Certainly, no one knew about his voting record. But I tell you what I find today is that pretty much every door, with the exception of maybe 10% of the doors, do not know about this race. They know about his voting record. They know about Wade Dunn. Wade Dunn is going to stand up for real conservative values, and it's so encouraging to go knock on doors. Honestly, I've said many times, I am glad that I enjoy that because it has been encouraging for me.
In your particular race, your opponent is an incumbent. He has a voting record for Arkansans to look at and make that decision. Okay, is this a person that I want to reelect, or is it time for something different? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's exactly the reason I got into this race. Nothing would have made me happier that if Lee Johnson would have voted as a true conservative, as a true Republican should have. But he didn't, and he's never had an opponent. And Lee Johnson is ranked the absolute lowest of any Republican in the state house. He was ranked 89th place out of 100 state representatives. There was 13 Democrats ranked more conservative than Lee. There were only 11 Democrats that were ranked less conservative than Lee. So that alone is a reason enough to come out and run against him. But the one bill that put me in this race was House Bill 1570. It was a bill to ban sex change surgery, chemical castration of children. And Lee Johnson voted against that. He, along with two other Republicans.
Yeah. So what does that tell you about Johnson? It has been said, okay, and I think this has been part of his argument. Well, but there were already, several children who were transitioning and going through that. But considering the thousands that bill would have protected, what do you think?
Well, and that's what we keep hearing. We keep hearing from Lee. He says, I would have voted differently if the language would have been different. Here's the problem with that. That's not what he told me the day of the governor's veto override. He told me that day that he was like the governor, that he didn't think it was the government's role to be making this decision. And I can understand that if he was not living in the world we're living in today. We can't wait and play defense. We've got to play offense and protect these under 18-year-old kids from this craziness. Yeah. So that's what he did. And now he's saying on the street that he would have voted differently if there would have been different language in there. And that language would have been protecting those children that had already been taking chemical castration drugs. The problem with that is he's had a year and a half to do something about it. A year and a half as a state representative to attempt to change that language. He didn't do that. He has not done that. He didn't go to the sponsor. He didn't go to the committee. He didn't go on the floor. He didn't fight for it. He didn't go to the well. He didn't do anything. But he did cast a no vote on the ban. And that no vote, he says, was to protect the 30 or 40 children that were already in the process. But what about the thousands of other children that his no vote put at risk to start the chemical castration?
Right.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, and I think probably a lot of Arkansans stand with you as well about that. Something that's particular about your race as well, you have been called, Wade Dunn, you're playing dirty, you are being mean. How dare you talk about Representative Johnson that way? Here at Conduit, we get called those things too. Is it wrong and mean and unkind to talk about someone's voting record. Why do people, particularly those in the establishment, I have an idea, not want us to call out people's voting record? That's what it's all about. It's not personal. What do you think?
Yeah, when you're exposing your opponent's voting record, that's what an election is about, especially if you're running against an incumbent. Like I have said many times, once he casts that vote, that no longer belongs to him. It belongs to the citizens.
Mm,
And that is public information. And exposing his record, I don't know why they dislike that. If they do dislike it, they should have taken it up with him, maybe back when he was casting those votes, like I did. I mean, I talked with him throughout the last 4 years, many
yeah,
different bills, especially Second Amendment stuff.
yeah. Talk to us also about endorsements. We are seeing, if you're on social media, you are seeing social media posts just flying around with endorsements, whether it's from Sarah Huckabee Sanders running for governor or incumbents, legislators that are in office right now. What do you think about that? What do you think those endorsements mean if just your average voter is looking at that?
Well, I just think about the endorsement that Lee is using in one of his latest ads. And if you go through that list of the candidates that, or the legislators, some of them are current legislators, and you look at their record, they're a part of the same group that Lee Johnson is. Maybe not quite as low as Lee Johnson, since he's in the last place on the conservative scorecard, but they're at the bottom of that list. And
Yeah.
that old saying that the birds of a feather flock together. I think that endorsement, if you look at those people, and the citizens need to realize that, look at those people that are endorsing Lee Johnson and look at their voting records, and you will see why they're supporting him. They want him back in there because
Right.
he carries the same agenda that they do.
All right, before we let you go, to knock on more doors, what do you want to tell voters in your area? Election day is Tuesday. There are a few more days left to early vote. Just give us your final thoughts.
I just want to leave it with this. Roe v. Wade, it appears, is going to be overturned. And we need a representative in Little Rock that will vote 100% of the time to protect the voiceless child. Lee Johnson is not that person. Senate Bill 448, Lee Johnson skipped that vote. He told a very good friend of mine that he did that because it was a conflict of interest with his job. Lee Johnson represents the hospital, the American Medical Association, which is a very liberal organization, the Arkansas Medical Association, which is a very liberal organization, and I suppose the State Chamber of Commerce, since they did fund him. Wade Dunn will represent people on a conservative basis. I tell people I'm the most conservative candidate ever voted for. And if I ever fail to do that, do not vote for me again. That's where I'm at. I need your vote, May the 24th, and I appreciate your time and having me on this morning.
Thank you so much, Wade. Good luck. We'll be watching out for you come Tuesday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.